was asking about the guys that she's dating and how they all applying pressure and how does she choose one, because she likes this one a little bit more than the other one. I said, look, let me ask you a question. Which one do you feel like is falling for you? She said, I don't know, but they all applying pressure. I said, look, a guy can be applying pressure today and be a learned lesson tomorrow. That's not how you should choose or gauge a man's interest, is whether or not he's applying pressure and buying you expensive things out the gate or paying for expensive dates or anything like that. None of that smooth stuff. But when a man starts being vulnerable, when a man starts opening his heart, when a man starts falling for you, that's when you at least have the best chance of getting the best version of him that he's even capable of giving you. That's when you have some level of indication that you can love him back because he's been able to love you as well. And there's some things that's going to let you know when a dude is really falling for you. Even in the initial dating phases, and by initial, I don't mean day one or day two. I mean like 2-3 weeks in, at least I would say around the month mark. When a guy starts saying certain things and is coupled with very specific action, and that's very important because we ain't talking about no guy getting a script and saying something and now he's falling in love. But say, for instance, if you have curiosity about who he's texting, who he's receiving a call from, what's going on in his phone, and you express that and he welcomes it, and I'm talking about welcomes it as in, hey, let's talk about it. What do you want to know? And he's willing to go through whatever he got going on in his phone. That lets you know a guy is starting to fall for you. This is why I say this. It's not that you need to be able to go and intrude on a man's privacy or, you should be able to just ask for his phone and he give it to you or you go through his phone, while you guys are still in the dating phases. But because you guys are in the trust building stage of the relationship or potential relationship, he's going to take advantage of TBOs. TBOs being trust building opportunities, as opposed to like a guy who doesn't care nothing about you and you start asking him questions about who he's texting, who he's calling, who he might be dealing with, who he's interested in. He'll shut that down. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. When a dude is not feeling you, he will let you know you're out of your lane. You're out of your jurisdiction. Hey, who you texting? Who that calling you? Don't worry about it. You ain't my girl. That's what he gonna say to you if he's not feeling you. Doesn't make him a bad guy, just means he ain't really rocking with you like that. But when a dude is about you, he's falling for you, those serious feelings are starting to develop. I mean, he just getting locked in. When you ask him questions, it's this is an opportunity to build trust. Especially since we don't already have trust. She's an amazing girl, but the trust ain't there. So this is my opportunity to earn that, to secure that. And again, this ain't to say you need to be able to go through his phone or else he don't care nothing about you. Matter of fact, let me say this. A dude is really only going to get mad if you go through his phone or ask about his phone. Most times in a relationship, and he has serious feelings for you. First off, because he probably feels like y'all should already have that level of trust established, right? So if you're doing that, it's like, come on, now all the stuff I've been doing to show you I'm trustworthy don't mean nothing. The second reason is because you may go through his phone behind his back, which of course does intrude on his privacy. Something you should be able to give him an opportunity to speak to if you're that curious. And the third reason may be because he's doing something wrong and he does have something to hide. Right? So in a serious relationship, it totally makes sense if a man is not feeling it, you asking about what's in his phone, it's not cool. So don't expect the guy in the dating phase that does this to expect like he's just going to do this throughout the tenure of the relationship. But in the beginning, if it's not been established, y'all are totally monogamous and all of that, but the feelings of kindness, that transitional period, and you have curiosity about who he's texting or who he's interested in, he's going to take that opportunity to reiterate to you how special you are or how much he's willing to be transparent with you, something that allow him to lay the proper foundation of trust in you guys' potential relationship. Now, the second way, or at least second thing you might hear a guy say when it comes to him falling for you, is when you hold him accountable, he says something along the lines of, okay, I hear you, but help me understand better so I can do better in the future. Help me understand. Basically, welcoming further dialogue, even whenever you're telling him he's done something wrong. Now, again, this is in stark contrast to a guy who don't care nothing about you, and you say, hey, you offended me. You bothered me. I don't like your tone. I don't like the words that you chose whenever you said this. I don't like how you was handling old girl when we went out. Even if we ain't together, you ain't going to be disrespecting me. Da-da-da-da. A guy that don't care nothing about you is going to see that as an inconvenience. He's going to see that as stress. He's going to see that as you taking away his peace. And he's not going to be feeling you. He's going to start falling back. You asking for too much. You outside of your jurisdiction. Again, you outside of your lane. But when a man is falling for you, and you say, hey, this is a problem for me. What he's seeing is an opportunity to learn how to love you better. What he's seeing is a privilege, first off. Because what you could do is cut him off. What you could do is just fall back and say, I'm not going to deal with you at all. Clearly, you over here putting my heart in danger. Maybe we a mismatch. We're not on the same page. So whenever you say, hey, this is what's going on with me, this is how I feel about something you said, didn't keep a commitment, late for a date, whatever, he's going to want to know more about why you feel the way that you feel and what the right way to move looks like for you. With all humility, not deflection and blaming somebody else and guilt tripping you and gaslighting you. No, like, okay, this is how you feel. I didn't know you felt that way. But just so we are definitely on the same page, talk to me. Like, help me understand why that was so hurtful. Help me understand what that looks like to do this thing right, because I don't want to get it wrong. And that's a man who's putting in effort. Of course, effort equals interest. All right, third thing, a man is going to say, whenever you guys are really getting close, or most importantly, whenever he's starting to fall for you. And I'm not going to say this is a specific thing or statement, but essentially, he's going to welcome you to call him without texting first. I'm not talking about when he's working, okay? Like, I'm not talking about when he's working. When a guy's working, yes, he's going to need you to text or something like that, or if he's at a funeral. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But on a Friday night, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, primetime hours, Saturday night, and he ain't already at work or something like that, you ain't got to text first. You call him, and it's welcome. Why? Because you're the priority on his schedule. Again, a trust-building opportunity to show you that he's not entertaining no other woman, or at least he's not entertaining nobody that he's worried about losing because you might call or something like that. It depends on what kind of situation y'all got set up. If you date and you understand that he's dating other people and he understands that you dating other people, it may be one of those things where, okay, right now we're not together, but you're number one. And if you're number one, more than likely it's because he has serious feelings for you. Now, I don't like to get into all that seriously, date multiple people. I think, it gets convoluted really easily. But what I'm basically getting at here is you don't have to check in first before he feels like I can dip away and now talk to you, because he's already falling for you. Anybody else is expendable outside of you. So if you are calling and interrupting something, it ain't more important than what you got to talk about. Unless, again, he's with his mama, his family. You already know it's a pre-planned event. But just in general, you'll start hearing him open up his schedule to you, as opposed to a guy who ain't really rocking with you like that. And therefore you got to text every time. Hey, don't call me. That's what he's going to say. Don't call me. You text me first, and then I'll call you back. Why? Because you may ruffle the feathers of somebody else. You may ruffle the feathers of who he sees as your competition. Another thing is whenever a guy, like to know that he's falling for you, is whenever a guy thinks about what you said in a conversation long after the conversation. So if he comes back to you saying, hey, I've been thinking a lot about what you said earlier. He's been pondering it. This is why this is a sign of him falling in love, or at least focusing on you with the true potential of falling in love. Because what happens is a lot of times guys will have a roster. Y'all got rosters too, ladies. Let's just keep it all the way real. But whatever you say goes in one ear, out the other, because he's already thinking about the next person the moment y'all get off the phone. He's already distracted with who else he wants to talk to. But when the guy has been thinking and dwelling on whatever it is that you told him, especially something that can allow him to better please you, to better connect with you, something to get on your schedule more often, whatever it is, to take things to the next level, you're going to hear him say things like, hey, I was thinking about when we talked earlier, and you told me this. What do you think about that? You'll start hearing that, like, oh, there's gaps in between when we talk, but there's not nearly as much of a gap between when he's thinking about me and considering me and wondering how he can progress this thing even further. So, last thing, when you know that a guy is starting to fall for you, and this is, let me be real, this is specific to men who fear God, God-fearing men, is when that man starts building spiritual intimacy with you, when he wants to pray with you. That's a telltale sign for a God-fearing man, not a perfect man, not a pastor or a super Christian, but a God-fearing man. Because what happens with a God-fearing man when he meets a woman that he truly, truly likes, one, is a rare experience. Okay? And when a man comes across a rare experience, a lot of times we doubt ourselves as to whether or not we can handle this, whether or not we're ready, we don't want to mess this up. And then a God-fearing man is going to go to the next level. Hold on. I don't know if I can do this by myself. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I can't. Let me go to my daddy. Let me go to my higher power and consult with him. So whenever he's already been talking about you to God, he's already been talking about you in prayer, he's going to eventually bring you into prayer. It's natural anyway. He already been saying your name behind closed doors in that prayer closet. So when a man starts, and he wasn't on this in the beginning, because you have some guys who try to show off and impress you with that kind of stuff, or they're just that open with their religion or whatever. But when a man starts bringing you into spiritual intimacy, into his prayer time, and he wasn't doing that in the beginning, that man is starting to have some real long-term plans and feelings for you. It's you starting to get anchored down in a really sacred place in his heart. Now, with everything that I said, we got to also understand, it's not necessarily that a man don't care about you if he don't do these things. These are indicative of a man who even has the capacity to love you, probably close to what you need in order to be properly loved. And not every man does. Some men, instead of being able to love, they're in survival mode. They're running from abandonment wounds. They're locked in and addicted to lusting. They're just bound by their flesh. They just doing their thing. So some guys honestly don't have the capacity to love. They hurt and they don't never want to open up again, never want to trust again. So it takes a certain type of brother to even be in a position to love and do any of these things. Don't mean he's a bad guy, but this is why I don't make the separation between good and bad, but rather evolved and unevolved. Evolved and unevolved. Because an evolved man has done the work to heal, to get in position. If he's even entertaining women, he's already said, okay, I've done the work to prepare myself for a woman so I can take care of that woman. And I say that because I don't want y'all listening to this and saying, oh, how can I go and train such and such? You know, he's handsome. Let me train him on how to do these things and be more evolved in how he approaches things. No, you don't have to train an evolved man. He's evolving. You have to teach him how to love you properly, but you don't have to train an evolved man. You don't have to raise an evolved man. He's already raised. Now, if you feel like you're already on the market, you've already done the work on yourself to also be evolved, and that's the type of man that you're looking for, an evolved man, but you don't know how to really attract them, you're attracting guys that you're overqualified for, you're really just unimpressed by, click the link that you see pinned right here down in this comment. Click that link right here at the bottom. Get access to my free masterclass, Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You, where I break down the strategies that's already worked for thousands of women on how to attract truly evolved men, separate them from the rest, and stand out with your authenticity, where you don't have to change everything about you or be fake or none of that stuff. But to stand out, because of course evolved men have standards of their own. The same way you as an evolved woman, top tier, cream of the crop woman, you have your standards, so do evolved men. But a lot of women don't know them. A lot of women don't know them, and a lot of women also don't know how to exude the characteristics that will make an evolved man crave you, because they are looking for a woman that's on their level. Again, if you want access to that free masterclass before it comes down, click the link that you see pinned right here. Register. Again, it's absolutely free. You ain't got to pay me nothing. But back to what I was saying. Don't get pressure confused with a guy who should be made a priority, or he's applying pressure so you should just take him seriously. No, a lot of guys, you know, they have the money, they've heard the videos and stuff. They know some of the things to say and do up front, but it's not a person's actions that will tell you the truth. It's their patterns. And in their patterns, you can see like what their real intentions are, what their real character is. But nothing is more telltale than whenever a man starts falling for you. That's whenever you know you're getting to the real version of him that either does or does not have the capacity to love you in the way that you need to be loved. But those are just my thoughts. If you got something from this, share this right now on your timeline for somebody else who may need to hear this message. And do not forget to get access before this masterclass comes down, because it's coming down soon. Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You. The link is right here in the comments, also in the caption whenever you back out. Get access now, and it's absolutely free. And I'll holler at y'all later. Y'all be good.